Hello and welcome to Tim's BMW Repairs and Information. Well, if you remember last month's debacle where the oil filter cover exploded and I lost all my oil and got no oil pressure and had to be towed back and all the rest of it. Well, today I've got a new problem. This time it's the gearbox. Well, they say problem comes in threes. I wonder what the next one's going to be. Yeah, this one's a blooming nuisance. Now, the gearbox works fine in drive, but as you know, I change gear using the Steptronic all the time. Off we go. The problem is, I'd come up to a roundabout and just before I hit the roundabout, into Steptronic, down into third gear, round the roundabout and then pull it back into fourth gear. Nah, just stayed in third gear with the valve train screaming away, making an awful racket. Yeah, very embarrassing when you're next to a car you're overtaking. You run out of revs and just sound like a diesel. Yeah, no good at all. So that's what the problem is. It's not changing gears. So I can go third, second, first, but I can't go first, second, third. No, just get stuck in the lowest gear or the highest gear. Never quite sure which way round it goes. That you were in last there. So I don't think this is a mechanical problem. I think it's an electronic problem. Now what we could do is connect up INPA using a laptop. The card won't work, by the way. It hasn't got live data from the gearbox. So we'd have to use INPA, but that's a bit of a palaver, especially on a December day when it's freezing cold and you've got to get the leads out and the mains lead and all the rest of it. No, I think I've got a good idea where the problem is likely to be in the Steptronic switch by the gear changer, by the shifter. So we'll have a look there first. Now, as I say, INPA would have been great for that because you can actually test the switch itself. You can see if it's doing the up and the down selections. I think we just use a meter. I think that's probably the easiest way. Now, as we know, the center console is a bit of a problem in these cars because if you wanted to get to the switches, say for the heated seats, then everything has to come out. But I've found a quick way of getting the shifter plate out and the heater switches out, which doesn't involve removing all the center console, you know, the CCC or whatever they call it, and the climate control. Now we've got a quick way of getting that apart. Might be we just need to remove the shifter surround and that'll be it, hopefully. But if we have to take it apart, then yeah, we've got a way of doing it. Rightio, well, enough prevaricating on this drizzly, damp, grey December day. Let's get on with it. As far as I remember getting this off, because I did this before to get to the switches up there, the gaiter comes off and pulls upwards. That's good. Can't see the Steptronic switch yet. This, I believe, just pulls off. There is a little bolt down there. Oh no, we're off. Okie dokes. So that's the sport switch here. Where's the Steptronic switch? It's going to be buried somewhere, isn't it? I can see that coming. Right, we'll take the sport switch off. Does that just pull out? Yeah, that's just all right. Sport switch out. Now these ones, I should think, they've got little catches on here. You're not going to see a great deal from here. Okay, so that's the main out. I'll put up pictures, I think it's probably best. Red one to the left, white one to the right. That's it, right, shifter plates that come out. Get the boot round it, there we go, we're out. Good, that's out. Now where's the blooming shifter, the Steptronic? Right, let's have a quick look around the switch. Oh yeah, that camera's going to be a blooming nuisance, I can see that happening. Right, that one goes to the sport switch, so that's press for sport. This joins up to that one there, which is the indicator for which mode you're in. So it lights up the LEDs, park, reverse, neutral, drive. If I remember correctly, my reverse one doesn't light up, so I could get another one of those. Righty-ho. As we said, there's two switches in here. There's one for the gear position, which is park, reverse, neutral, drive. This is that selector there. They've always looked like that. Even on my first E32, it had one of these selector switch. So that's what that'll be. And that'll be this bunch of wires coming out of there with that purple one. You can see it there. Now the blue connector, I'm pretty sure, is the Steptronic switch, which goes underneath somewhere. Now on the E32s, 31s, 38s, 39s, the Steptronic switch is to the left of the shifter, but I can't see one there at all. So it's going to be something under there. Righty-ho. There's a loom going into here. That's interesting. Now that is a switch. Yeah, and that loom moves around a lot. I think that loom there, so that's this lot here, that has got to be the Steptronic switch. And because this is all Steptronic stuff here, yes, you can see that. This thing here goes into this lump of metal here. That has got to be a Hall effect switch. And then the movements backwards and forwards, yeah, this has all got to be Steptronic stuff here. This loom here. So I could look on the TIS, I suppose, but I don't want to overdo it really. So I still think that this lot here is the Steptronic. Now Steptronic switches are usually 4 wires. You have, yeah, and that blue connector's 4 wires there. And what you usually have on a Steptronic switch is 1 ground, or is it 5 volts? Can't remember. One of them is either ground or 5 volts. And then you've got 3 wires, which is the up, the down, and the going into sports mode or Steptronic mode in the first place. That will be a Hall effect switch, so that tells it it's in Steptronic. And then the other 2 wires, so you've got 1 wire for Steptronic, which is that, then you've got 1 for one way, 1 for the other way. So we ought to probe that and see what's going on. Okay, well, I've had a good poke of that loom to see what's going on. That is certainly the Steptronic switch. What I do now is I've broken out my meter, sharpened the probe so I can puncture insulation if I have to. I've checked the Steptronic, that's moving it to the left. Yep, and it buzzes away, so the brown is the common wire, and then I do each of the other wires in turn, purple being one. It's the blue I'm interested in, so the blue's for going up a gear, but I'm checking all the other ones as well, just to make absolutely sure my meter's connected to the right place and everything. Bit difficult to get through the insulation, so I sort of fiddled about a bit, and you don't need to see half of this. But yeah, I've put the blue loom down on something solid, and now I can puncture through the insulation. Now I went through each wire in turn, got a good reading for the Steptronic, also the downer gear, and then I got to the upper gear, which is the blue wire. Now I've got a reasonably good contact on that end, so yeah, I'm just trying the downer gear again, which is fine. So I need to now probe the blue wire, so I'll probe the blue wire at the connector. And then what I'll do is I'll actually puncture the blue wire as it comes out of that loom, just to make sure it's continuous through to there. So there I am, I'm looking for the blue wire, I'm looking for the purple one to start with, get hold of the blue wire, and what happens? It actually falls out. Yeah, that's where the problem is. The blue wire is actually fatigued at that really sharp joint, so that's where the problem is. Well, the blue wire just fell off. I think we found our problem. Actually got wire fatigue. How peculiar. Okay, so what can we see down there? See how far I can get the camera down there. So here's where the wire's snapped. Here's the white plastic thing. What does the white plastic thing do to the wires? Eh? That's what I want to know. Something's constraining all the wires. You can see there that what looks white here, which I think is actually grey, and the green are starting to fail, aren't they? You can see they've suffered from wire fatigue. That appears to be a Torx, doesn't it? Oh yeah, we're good. I should think it's held on some... Oh God, I can see one right down there. Yeah, that's not going to help at all. Yeah, because there's one down there as well, and I can't get to that. Well, that's a blooming nuisance. I'm going to get a bit more with this one off. We'll have a good old poke and have a look. Don't lose the screw though. In the ashtray. Yeah, I'll forget that's there in a minute. Oh yeah, I can see the loom sort of goes around here. It sort of goes round in a sort of swirl. That's the service loop. I.e. the bit that's meant to stop the cable failing as you move the shifter from side to side. So yeah, this is actually a loom fault, isn't it, rather than anything else. Yeah, it's all pig awkward. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so that's the Steptronic switch. Loom goes up, goes round it and back down again. So yeah, I'm not sure what to do about that. Also, I seem to have half disconnected this now as well. Oh, that's back in. So I'm afraid that's going to be, until that loom fails altogether, I'm going to have to join that up, aren't I, round the side and put a service loop on it. So there's that loom. So I'm going to have to bring the blue out round here. I think that's going to be the fix, I'm afraid. Not the most elegant. The other way, I mean the proper way to do that, you can see that I'm going to lose Steptronic altogether at some point because the other wires are fatiguing as well. So I have a quick look up what we've got in the way of replacement parts. That looks like, to me, that goes into the Steptronic switch, and the replacement is going to be the Steptronic switch, i.e. this bit here which is moving, Steptronic switch and the loom, and then I'd have to get this white plastic bit off. I can't see myself doing that without getting all of this off. I suppose I could remove the shifter with the two large bolts. But of course, shifter is mechanical as well as electronic, and there's the cable that goes down. So I don't think removing the shifter is going to be that easy without affecting anything. Yeah, okay, decision made. What I'm going to do is basically repair the blue wire, and when we start getting problems with going into sports mode and the other direction on the Steptronic, then I'll replace all of the Steptronic switch. Not too worried about this because obviously this is a function you don't have to use, and it won't affect the normal changing of the gearbox, won't affect the drive performance. So this is just for me so I can change gear. And when, as I say, when the Steptronic stops working altogether due to these looms failing, then I'll replace all of it. Righty-ho. So here's the loom tucked back in its little clasp, and we've got the blue wire which failed, goes round the outside, so it doesn't suffer from any damage. That, let's see if it actually works. Oh, to do that I think what we obviously need to connect the pink and the white, and I might as well put the surround on, so hold on. Right, so what I've done is reconnect the white loom, pink loom, the white loom goes here, sports one. I need to put the ignition on again before I can move the shifter. For that I need to put the switch in. I'm going to have to run the engine, I think, because the battery's going a bit flat now. Okie dokes. I can now put it into, yeah, as you can, it's my reverse light doesn't work. It's 2 seconds to do with 2 hands. Right, park, reverse, no light, neutral light, drive light. Okay, what we're going to go? Sports. Yeah, DS. I'll zoom you in slightly because you can't see. Right, forward. That was working before. 1, does backward work? Yes, we've got full Steptronic control again. Yeah, so that's normal behaviour. Back into drive, to the left into Steptronic. Forward will give you first when you're stationary. Backward will give you second, third, and that's the only gears you can get when you're stationary. Do it back again, you get fourth for a second, and then it'll pop itself back to third. There we go, fully working model. Well, it's the next day, and being a day older, today's Timm knows much more than yesterday's Timm does. The Steptronic switch is not a separate item. You can only buy the shifter as a whole part. And you can imagine how much that's going to be from BMW. What do you reckon? 300, 400, 500 quid? Yeah, about somewhere about there. Fortunately, you can get them from eBay. Yeah, here's a nice shifter from a 6 Series. £29.99. Yeah, that's about $35 or something. Yeah, can't go wrong there, can you? My plan is we'll go with the temporary repair for now, but over Christmas when it turns up, I'll take the one we bought apart to see if I can do anything with that wiring. Now I had to think about that Torx bolt that we couldn't get to, and I remembered I've got these. Yeah, I bought these for doing the PCV valve on the back of the engine, and I got all sorts of them because you need all sorts of Torx drivers for the PCV because they're constrained behind the engine to some extent. So these right angle ones are just what you need. Fortunately, they're just what you need to get that white cover off the Steptronic loom, and that's what we'll do at some point in the future. But for now, back to a much younger Timm. You're looking well. And there we go then. Yeah, what did we learn today? Yeah, we learned I'm 65 and getting a bit shaky, and soldering little wires together in the Steptronic unit is a lot of hard work. But we learned that the Steptronic is actually not electronic, but it's actually electrical. So it's got mechanical switches in there, might be Hall effect or reed switches, but even with power disconnected, you can use your meter and you can find out which bit's working. We also found out that the method they've used in the 6 Series and anything with the 6-speed Mechatronics box is not great. It's got that loop that goes from the Steptronic down to through the plastic thing, and that service loop isn't enough, and the wires do fatigue. And we saw while I was having a good look at it, the other 3 wires are starting to fatigue as well. And I should think the only repair is to change the whole Steptronic switch back to the loom, and so the white bit will have to come off. That unfortunately means removing the screw at the bottom, which we can't get to with the centre console in place. So yeah, that would be an awful job. Might be able to pull it apart enough just to get the loom out, and that's probably what I'll do if I need to. Yeah, it's 4 o'clock, getting dark at the moment, so it was quite a difficult job when you're 65 years old and a bit shaky, soldering together little wires, but there you go. We're not going to use those bullet connectors like we used on the hinges of the E31. Too big. I've got a lot of bad comments about those bullet connectors as well, the ones with the solder built in. I thought they're pretty good myself, but time will tell. And of course with my repairs, at least you see things that happened, you know, a few years later, and then we can see if they fatigued or went wrong or anything like that. As far as I could see, they're pretty good. But we couldn't use them, the wire diameter was too small, had to bend, so it was solder and heat shrink and a small bit of bendy wire. So, well, thanks for all the comments, by the way. I love reading all the comments. I get some really nice, kind comments, and that's excellent. I do like those. And I try to respond to the comments as soon as possible. Bit busy at work at the moment, so it's taking me a bit of time to get round to replying to them. But anyway, put the thumbs up if that helped you, and I'll see you next time.